guys might remember the PPSH-41. I showed it to you in the past. This was from AK Gel Blaster. I'm not sure that they even stock this anymore, but since they sent it to me originally, of course, I'm going to give them a plug. It's a pretty cool blaster. Obviously, it's a Russian style. PPSH-41 typically has, a wood stock that looks, pretty cool and pretty authentic. Now, the only downside to this blaster when I got it was this part, everything here is all metal, but it had a plastic stock. Now, you could buy the wood kit, and then that's pretty cool. I have a friend in Australia who did that, and that's, really nice add-on for this if you want that authentic look. Now, I don't have that wood kit. I have the plastic one. And what I wanted to do is make a cool kind of tactical version of this blaster, kind of a more, modern version. And so since I didn't have the wood one, I had the plastic one, I thought it was going to be okay to go ahead and paint it. If anyone ever were to have this and they wanted to return it to that original look, everything I'm doing, there's not going to be any holes drilled into the blaster or anything at all. I'm going to show you. Really, all you'd do is order that wood stock, boom, you'd have it back to original look, right? So what I did here is obviously I painted out the stock, right? And then I even made a little cheek riser type thing that'll go on there. And you can see that I used some rivet nuts mounted from the inside, and this is going to screw down into that. That's what's going to hold those on, okay? So basically you got to drill some holes, reach in there with the pliers after you heat these up, push them up, get those locked in place. So that's going to go ahead and lock that cheek riser on. All right, so that was the only thing that I, put any holes in. So otherwise, this has this metal outer barrel that covers the inner barrel, and then this piece that kind of held it in place, right? A little stabilizer. So there was about this much, like we see of the white threads of the inner that stuck out past this. So I wanted to put some threads on there. So basically, I modified this piece. So this piece would be modified, but again, it wouldn't be a big deal. It's going to be inside there, and you're going to have that option of having threads, which is nice. So this will go right back in there and be able to use the existing hole to screw that in so that it stays in place. And that way, you can go ahead and use different types of tracers or fake suppressors. So again, since this was AK Gel Blaster, I might show it to you with that cool smoke emitting tracer. That's a really cool option. And this was just a different AK Gel Blaster. It's the KSC, suppressor, and then the tracer inside it is from AK Gel Blaster. So probably use one of those with this once I get to that point. Now the big changes are going to be adding rails, right? So I wanted to add rails, and I wanted to do it in a way that I don't put any holes into anything. And so what I did is I 3D printed these pieces, and again, I used rivet nuts here. So a piece like this would slide in here, and basically you'd get it into place, which is going to be a little hard on video. But what I would do is get that into place, and then it's going to go ahead and just attach the rail to it. So, this piece you're not going to see really much because it's going to be completely underneath inside the barrel. But that's going to allow me to attach a nice rail on top, a nice rail on bottom, and then some side rails as well. So we're going to have some side rails on there. So it's really going to give it a cool tactical look. Now I also did a little riser that sticks out back, so we can go ahead and put some optics here, get it a little closer to the back of the blaster. So I thought that was pretty cool. And of course I used the same rails throughout when I was 3D printing everything. Last would just be the grip. So this was a grip I already had printed that I kind of liked, but it needed a big kind of long blaster for it to make sense. So that's going to go on out there. And of course it's going to slide on, and you're going to use, your screws here. But one thing I do on a lot of these that I 3D print as well is I put like a little, again, rivet nut that I sink in here. So that way you can put a screw through here and kind of tighten it up in case it's a little loose. That'll add some tightness because it's just going to push up against the rail. And that way, if there is any play, that'll help make it nice and strong. So there you go. That's the quick build plan. I think it's going to look really cool. I've already checked that these tracers will fit inside just fine because they're going to have to go in to about there, to screw on, and they both fit, which is great. So we'll use one of those. And this is just a really cool quality blaster. I think it's going to look really cool, obviously much more like I said, futuristic or modern than it did before. But when I have these laying around long enough, I always want to try to figure out something to do. And this was just a cool idea I thought of. Couldn't find any kits or anything for it. And I figured there'd be a nice, easy way to do what I'm doing with the rails. So once I got that figured out, I thought this would look awesome. So comments or questions, post them below. Like, subscribe, share my channel with your friends, and remember to participate in those YouTube contests where you can win over $300 in blasters and accessories every month on my channel. Thanks for your support, and stay tuned for the finished product.